Ball Show on Sikkim 365 Radio, presented by Brotherwell Brewing and Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac.
Buda Baker out in front. Can Metcalf track him down? Can he chase him down? And he does to save a touchdown.
Here's Paul Catalina, Steve May, and Grayson Grundhaver.
Welcome into the Fantasy Football Show, brought to you by Brotherwell Brewing and Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac. By the way, I'm just going to say it right off the bat, got some great news on my car today, which is
very
there.
good.
So, yes, it's reparable.
Oh.
Yes, they can fix it, and now I don't have to buy a new one.
Very good.
But I'm very excited. I'm very excited that we're at a Fantasy Football Show. We are here. We're serving a very special purpose tonight, guys. People have been watching numbers and states and hearing about counties and states they're never going to go to and places they're never going to ever visit in the world and wondering how it's going to affect their lives. We are going to take all of that out of your mind for however long, whenever you watch the show, if you're watching it live or if you're watching it on demand later or listening to it, whatever you're going to do, to pick up the show here on Sikkim 365 Radio, at Sikkim365.com, YouTube, Facebook, wherever, Periscope, wherever you're watching it. On our app, we're going to take your mind away from the election blues.
We're your escape.
Yes.
For the night.
So, yeah, 50% of you are sad, 50% of you are happier. All of us are confused. So, let's be the escape. And right now...
No better way to escape.
Yes, let's escape into a cold, frosty Brotherwell Bridge Street Vit.
Yes. Sweet alcohol dulls the pain, according to Homer Simpson.
Yeah. And Grayson this week, who's got the act of faith, the triple.
And had the wit in a while. Very good.
Very good.
Yeah. So there you go. Oh man, I need.
So we got to watch Grayson, because for every one of those he's drinking, it's like two of ours.
Yes. So Grayson might get belligerent by the end of the show and say, you know what, I'm taking over. Armstrong shut their camera off. This is all me. I don't think he'll do that, but I don't know. I've never seen Grayson when he's all hopped up. So
I'm never hopped up. So
that's good. Plus, Grayson's at home with his wife. He doesn't want to deal with the repercussions of that. Like, what's this about? Oh, I got drunk on the Fantasy Football Show. Doesn't seem to me to be like an acceptable reason.
No,
on a Wednesday.
Oh, it's definitely acceptable.
I don't know.
I'm coming up on 27 years of marriage, and no, that doesn't fly.
And your wonderful wife Jennifer just had a birthday.
She did.
So happy birthday to Jennifer.
Happy birthday.
Yes. Yeah. So, all right, guys. So one really big injury in fantasy football this week, and it's George Kittle. There was a time where you would never said a tight end, except for Antonio Gates, was a big injury, but there's several of them now, and George Kittle is certainly one of them, and he's a go-to play every week, as you know. The 49ers are probably without him throughout the rest of the year. If they don't make any, like maybe if he gets back, if they're in the playoffs, I think he would maybe play, but that doesn't look like a team right now in that division that's going to the playoffs. No George Kittle, and then no Jimmy G to maybe help buoy them, and it's not like he's playing great, but the drop from Jimmy G to Nick Mullins is pretty steep. Grayson, your thoughts on the 49ers and who to play and what to do then now that George Kittle's out?
Well, you know what? I don't know that the drop-off is as steep as you're saying for this year's version of Jimmy G versus Nick Mullins. I think overall Jimmy G's better, but the guy hasn't been healthy all year. I mean, he had the ankle injury, and then they rushed him back too early. So I don't know. I think that Nick Mullins could have a little bit of success. Obviously, without Kittle, it's going to be really tough. But as far as fantasy goes, I think the defense is going to continue to give up points. They just traded Quan Alexander. So I think it bodes really well for the other offensive guys on the 49ers. I think they're going to be in a lot of shootouts or down by a lot.
Yeah, Steve, your thoughts?
Yeah, George Kittle, personally, for me, he was someone I had on a lot of my rosters. Kelsey was always the first tight end, and then I lucked out, I thought at the time, and got Kittle. So as far as your roster goes with him on it, they're saying about 8 weeks. Well, that puts you into week 16, more than likely week 17 of the season. If you're in a good league, you don't play week 17. Your season ends week 16. So in the leagues that I have him, I'm cutting him.
Yeah.
He's not going to do me any good. I already have other players in the IR spot that are probably going to come back at some point. So so you got to go dig around on the waiver wire and pick up a Dalton Schultz if he's out there. Gronk is out there still in a lot of leagues. So as far as Garoppolo goes, I back up what Grayson's saying. I don't know if there's going to be a huge drop off to Mullins. I think their offense is what it is this year, and so but
Mullins played really, really poorly when he got in the game before. So that's why I said, like, Jimmy Garoppolo is at least, I mean, he's not great, but he wasn't terrible like Mullins was. Yeah. So that was my thought on that. All right. Cowboys and Eagles played on Monday night or on Sunday night. And I felt genuinely bad for Alan Chris that this was their game of the week, especially considering that Ravens and Steelers was played at noon.
Yeah.
Like, it just seems like they need to flex that game early. The Cowboys and Eagles, from a fantasy standpoint, you're at a point where there are no Cowboys now that they're going to be on their fourth and possibly even fifth quarterback, depending on what happens to poor Garrett Gilbert or poor Cooper Rush with that offensive line. So they might be in a fourth or fifth quarterback. None of their players really have value now. I mean, you're going to play Zeke because somebody's got to get the carries, but wide receiver-wise, only if you have to. Dalton Schultz, again, maybe because your tight ends are kind of safety valves, but Steve, we'll start with you on the Cowboys before we get to the Eagles, which is another interesting discussion. The Cowboys really, no one has value, even though their defense scored some points from people this week not because of anything they were doing, because of Carson Wentz.
Cowboys, you're still going to play Zeke. You have to because you drafted him in the first round if you have him on your team. So you got to keep plugging him in there and see what happens. And like you said, Dalton Schultz, I wouldn't play any Cowboy receiver right now unless you just have to. I do feel better. They haven't said who they're going to play yet, either Rush or Gilbert.
They're splitting the snaps this week.
So honestly, out of those two, I kind of like Cooper Rush, but I don't think it really helps the value of the Cowboy receivers much. And especially this week, my God, they're playing Pittsburgh, who is my number one most hated team personally. But I got to give it up for them because every year they're in it. They're stable, which the Cowboys cannot say. But it's going to be ugly.
Well, and I'll say I've said this on the show all week long and on my podcast, the Believe Podcast Network with Orlando Scandrick. Believe in the Cowboys. Please like and subscribe wherever you get podcasts. That's just a shameless plug for another thing. But I think that the Steelers, like J.J. Watt may rip a guy's ear off and wear it as a trophy. It's going to be just so bad. All right, and I want to get into something with you, Grayson, on the Eagles. Carson Wentz is so bad that now it makes me scared to play certain members of the Eagles like Travis Fulgham or Greg Ward or guys you have to put in. I wonder, like, week to week, if Carson Wentz is really going to get them the ball. Miles Sanders probably needs to get back in a hurry for them. Boston Scott's been doing fine, but they completely abandoned the run against a team that couldn't run the ball on Sunday night. Grayson, your thoughts on Carson Wentz and the Eagles?
I mean, it's kind of a funny situation because obviously we're all prisoners of the moment a lot of the time, but you have to remember against Baltimore and against the Giants, he scored over 28 fantasy points. So he got it done in those games, but he didn't play well, obviously, against the worst defense probably in the NFL, the Cowboys. So it does make things a little bit more questionable with the Eagles. But I think if they get Zach Ertz back, I think Dallas Goedert coming back, and Miles Sanders, I just think they're very behind offensively right now, and he hasn't really gotten into much of a rhythm with these guys. But I actually like Carson Wentz going forward. I think he'll be okay fantasy-wise. As a quarterback, though, I mean, the interceptions and the turnovers he has had, I mean, they're just inexcusable at times.
I thought, honestly, like there are some times I thought he might have had an eye patch on because his depth perception seemed like it was off. Yeah. Like the fake to the wrong side to me seems like, are you wearing an eye patch? Like, is your eye swollen shut like in Rocky? Like, are you like telling like the trainer to cut you? I don't know what's going on there.
Well, that would have been the one game where if you had him on your roster, you're like, I'm playing him this week. He's going to do awesome. He's not rostered in a lot of the leagues, but if you had him, that was the game you were hoping for. I'm going to plug him in. He's going to get me, 25 to 35 points, and just didn't happen.
No. All right. Okay, Grayson, this next topic is for you. The Pittsburgh Steelers are fantastic, and they're very good. You are a big proponent of Deontay Johnson. But once again last week, the Steelers kind of did that thing where they just kind of pick a guy, and it wasn't Deontay Johnson. What's going on?
Yeah, it wasn't Deontay Johnson. It was actually Juju this past week, which has not been the case. I'm still really high on Deontay Johnson. I think if you go look at most of the games, he's been the lead target guy. In 3 of the 6 games he's played in, he's had at least 10 targets, had 15 targets against Tennessee. I just think he's the guy in the offense, and I'm going to stand by that. But I do think that you are taking a little bit of a risk with him because there are so many weapons on that team, particularly this week against the Cowboys. There's a chance that the Steelers just give the ball to James Conner 25 times and let him do the damage. But I really like Deontay Johnson. I like the talent, and I do think that Big Ben has kind of put his trust in him a little bit. So we'll see if they get back on track this week, but don't lose faith on Deontay yet.
Yeah, Steve, if you've got a Steeler that you want to play and take a chance, like even if you're taking a chance on playing Juju or Claypool or Deontay Johnson, heck, even Benny Snell this week might have a little bit of value because there's a chance the Steelers are up 28-0 in this thing before they say the word go, and maybe you just relax the thoroughbreds a little bit.
Yeah, and Mike Tomlin's the kind of coach, he's going to exploit your weakness. So as Grayson said, I expect James Conner to have a huge game. And then the Cowboy linebackers right now are weak. So I think Eric Ebron could be a good play as well.
Yeah, that's. I mean, it's just if you've got Steelers, this is the way you play them. It's kind of like against the Jaguars, the Cowboys, the Jets. Like if you're playing against any of those teams, like if you got a guy, like even if it's the Dolphins or somebody like that who doesn't have like prolific offense, might as well take a shot.
Yeah.
I mean, they're playing the Jets, playing the Cowboys. The defenses are so bad. Everybody's so bad. And, there are teams. This is the NFL trade deadline. Nothing happened that's really going to affect fantasy other than the fact that if you look at teams like the Jets who are selling off parts and the Texans who sold off some parts that, maybe you want to play somebody against them because they now have less than what they did even in their crappiest moments.
Yeah. There weren't any big pieces that moved. There was some speculation that Will Fuller might get moved from the Texans or even Kenny Stills, and that didn't happen. The Patriots picked up a receiver from the Dolphins, Isaiah Ford.
Yeah.
That means nothing. So, yeah, it was kind of uneventful.
Yep. Yeah, Grayson, no trade deadline. That's kind of a bummer, but 16-man practice squads can really ruin fantasy football.
Yeah, definitely. I'm with Steve here. I mean, it was such an uneventful trade deadline and really unfortunate. But if you are a Devontae Adams owner, you're very happy because it seemed like Will Fuller was going to be on the move to the Packers. And the Packers, in my opinion, were smart enough to not do that. But they were also dumb enough to take a quarterback in the first round instead of taking a wide receiver who could have helped them potentially win a Super Bowl this year, which is also very funny. So, uneventful trade deadline, really unfortunate. But like I did say, I would look at the New Orleans Saints defense a little bit differently with Quan Alexander there. I think that was probably the most notable pickup for me because the Saints defensively have been really questionable this year fantasy-wise.
Yeah, they have. All right, we'll come back. We'll talk daily fantasy. Grayson, do you want to talk about our league with Steve, or can we just Steve won it and we don't need to get into it?
Yeah, we don't need to get into it this week. This was a rough week.
Did y'all even put a roster in there?
Yeah, I mean, we might as well not have. I mean, Grayson was close. I had somebody get hurt like early on in the game, and I was like, well, that's it. That's it for that. There you go. Super play. The other thing I did, and I imported. I did a big mistake. I imported a lineup and made 2 changes to it, and I should have just done my own lineup because I really like that lineup in another league. But for our purposes of just the 3 of us, I should have loaded up at the top a little bit more. I did. I won 5, like the lineup I had. I won like $5 within a league, and I thought, okay, well, this is a good one.
There you go.
I thought where I was, was going well, and so I looked at one contest, and it's going all right, and I was like, all right, here we go. And then I go over ours, which I made like one subtle change to it, and it was disastrous. It was absolutely an unmitigated disaster. When we come back again, daily fantasy, and then in our third segment, my college roommate Stacy, he continues to have questions.
Very good.
We're helping him win this league. quite a bit. So we'll answer his questions. He was up all night, not watching election returns. He was thinking of 3 or 4 questions to send to us like he does every week. And you can send us questions too, at Paul Catalina on Twitter, at Greg Grundhafer on Twitter, and at SendTextCommish on Twitter as well. Or 254-339-1122. That is our Riverman Liquor and Wine text line. We'll be back in just a minute. Thanks to Brotherwell Brewing and Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac. This is the Fantasy Football Show at Sikkim 365 Radio.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. And this football season, you need to stop by on game day for curbside pickup or stop by their tent next to Sikkim 365 at Brazos Parking for your pregame refreshment. Brotherwell Brewing believes in community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Engel with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like instant issue debit cards free at all of our banking centers, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Car has the trucks, man. They have the one for you. Crew cab, short or long bed, silver, black or blue. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, he has the truck for you. Carr has the trucks, man. He has the truck you need. If you want the best truck, you want a GMC. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, they have the truck for you.
Welcome back into the Fantasy Football Show here on Sikkim 365 Radio. Brought to you by our good friends at Brotherwell Brewing and Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac. I had some more Bridge Street Vit during the break. It just makes me feel good.
It's good.
Happy, like, not just in the way that alcohol is supposed to, but in the way that, like, just my general emotions and outlook on the world changes.
Well, to talk a little bit more about them, there's tons of craft beer now, which is awesome. That's a good thing. But there's also a lot of copycat stuff coming out within that world. But they've managed to come out with some just really unique and original beers.
They're very passionate about what their craft.
Yep.
And that's why I like people who are kind of nerds about what they do.
Yes.
Like they're very passionate about it. It's really good, and I'm really glad that Grayson got some to take home this week. We loaded him up when he came up for the game this week.
Did you give him a variety pack?
I did.
Very good.
You've got several different kinds, don't you, Grayson?
Yeah, I have 24 beers, so this is number 1.
We expect him to get to at least 19 before the end of the show.
Yes.
They're all just for this week, right, Paul?
Yeah,
and then I get 24 more next week.
Yeah, you do 19 this week, and then you have some to get you through the Baylor game on Saturday.
Yep.
Because you're probably going to need a couple days after that 19 to just recuperate. All right, so daily fantasy. Steve, you were our champion last week in our league of 3.
Yep, 2 weeks in a row. And as I was saying during the break, what paid off for me was in that league and a couple other ones was the Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams combo. And then based on how I had done my rosters, I needed to go cheap on defense. So I went with the Dolphins, and that paid off because they scored 2 touchdowns. I think they scored 23 points, which is high for a daily fantasy defense to do. So it was good. Overall, for the week, all the contests I was in, I think I broke even.
Yeah.
But that league is winning that $5.40 is all that matters.
Yeah, it is, and you're a champion, and no one can take that away from you. All right, I'm tired of talking about that. By the way, in our showdown this week, Steve will get the first pick because he won. That's a new tradition I'm going to make. So he gets the first pick. Although my first pick last week was the only good pick that we made, but
that was
just saying, Curtis Samuel, in the captain spot.
Yeah.
So that was a good pick. You guys, lost in the woods, but that's fine. You won the actual.
Was there a moment where we were winning some money?
Yes.
There had to have been.
Yeah, there was. Yeah. Especially early on, like when he scored the 2 touchdowns, like, oh man.
Yep.
And then, like we didn't pick. We should have picked Bridgewater or Ryan instead of Bridgewater. Mm-hmm. It was just like those things. So, and the thing that got us, the thing that really got us, was and this was my pick. We picked Joey Sly instead of Younghoe Koo.
Yeah. Yep.
And Koo had a better game. So. Yep. That was really what got us last week. Okay, Grayson, your thoughts on daily fantasy this week? Guys that you like, good matchups, things like that.
Well, last week I was riding high with the momentum. I told everyone, play Brandon Ayuk last week. I played him in all of my daily fantasy leagues, and he was awesome. Yep. I'm rolling the dice again. Play Brandon Ayuk against the Green Bay Packers. They're going to be down all night, all game. Because the Packers just lost to the Minnesota Vikings. They got absolutely Dalvin cooked. So now I think this is a big opportunity for them to get back on track. I think they're going to run up the score a little bit. So Nick Mullins is going to have to throw the football. And thus, I think Brandon Ayuk is going to have another really, really good game. I would be very comfortable putting him as my wide receiver 2, but would love him as my wide receiver 3 or a flex. So very excited about him. A couple of the other plays that I really like this week, Drew Locke. He led a 21-point third quarter comeback last week over the Chargers to get a win for the Broncos. Now he gets to play the Atlanta Falcons. I believe he's only 5,200 on DraftKings. So I actually really like him this week as kind of a sneaky play if you're going to save money at that position. At the running back spot, I really like a guy like Zach Moss against the Seahawks. He's been running the ball really, really well, and looks like he might be taking the goal line carries away from Devin Singletary for the rest of the season. So if he can get you a touchdown or 2 against the Seahawks in what should be a high-scoring game, 5,200 is his worth right there. So those are a couple. Another one I like, Marvin Jones on the road against Minnesota. Kenny Golladay probably going to be out. I like Marvin Jones there. I think he'll score a touchdown. He had 2 touchdowns against the Colts last week. So those are some of the main ones. There's a few others. I really like a guy like Justin Jackson this week against the Raiders. So he'd be another interesting one to me. And also we talked about him before the show, Paul, Jermichael Hasty against the Green Bay Packers. That Packers run defense, it's terrible.
Yeah. All right, Steve, anything to top on that Sunday there?
Grayson copied my list, obviously. But and I apologize for looking at my phone, everybody. I came unprepared tonight. I really like Drew Locke as a good play against Atlanta. As Grayson said, he's 5,200. They're at Atlanta, so you don't have to worry about weather. It's going to be indoors. So that Denver offense is clearly better when he's at quarterback. Yeah. So even some of the Denver receivers might be a good play this week. If you're going to spend up, I do like Desean Watson against Jacksonville. He's coming in at 7,100, and I think the Jacksonville defense is pretty porous right now. Running backs, already mentioned James Conner. He's not as high as I thought he would be. He's at 6,900. I thought he might be up in the 7,200. So I just think they're going to ride him that whole game because they should get up early and just be able to coast the rest of the way. And he mentioned some of the rookie running backs. I think now we're seeing in Buffalo, Moss is definitely showing he's better than Singletary. Baltimore, Dobbins, I think now is becoming.
Well, it's weird because Gus Edwards got a lot of carries last week, but Mark Ingram's hurt. Yeah. So now Dobbins has a lot more value.
So I do think they want Dobbins to be the main guy there. Edwards is going to come in and vulture some stuff, but if you're like me in season-long fantasy and you've been sitting on Moss and Dobbins, which I have, now's the time to use them. Really, Cam Akers is the main rookie running back that really hasn't done anything, and you can cut him. As far as I'm concerned, I also like Hines in Indianapolis. I'm not sure what's going on right there with the running back situation, but Taylor was not the main guy this past week, and so I kind of like Hines against Baltimore. He's coming in at 4,400, so that could be a sneaky play there.
And look, I don't think Baltimore's going to shut them out. That's going to be a tough defensive game, really.
Yep.
But yeah, there's going to be some points scored. Okay, let's get into it.
All right.
Okay, so it's 49ers and the Packers. Tomorrow night, the captain's pick is to you, Steve.
Where's the game at?
The game is
San Fran.
It's in San Fran.
Okay. All right. Green Bay, San Fran. The Packer running back situation is kind of iffy right now.
Well, I mean, their top Aaron Jones is practicing but limited, and it's a short week.
And Williams is COVID, right?
Williams is COVID, and somebody else is COVID.
A.J.
Dillon.
Yeah, they're all COVID. So.
Yeah. So it's going to be an Aaron Rodgers game.
Yeah.
He's going to be throwing it all over the field. So give me, I'm sure Adams is really high.
Highest value, 18.6.
Yeah.
At the captain spot, which cost for our viewers 1.5, percent or to 1.
Let's plug in Lazard.
He's still in the IR.
Oh, he is
still in the IR officially.
Okay. That's right. Man, this is a tough one because I want to do a Packer in that spot. Give me Tanyan.
Oh, that's a great job. Just 9,600.
Okay.
For Tanyan. Okay, I'll do this pick, and I want Grayson to have the back-to-backs on this here. So I'm going to go with maybe the only 49er we'll draft tonight. Well, no, I know who Grayson's going to draft. I'm going to let him have his guy. I'm going to take my dude Jermichael Hasty at 7,200. So he's more than Tanyan. So and Tanyan's played more. So they're about this. I mean, that's about the same realm. But 7,200. We've got $33,200 left, and we get 2 picks from Grayson.
Well, I'm for sure taking Brandon Ayuk. That's absolutely going on there. I think you can chalk that up. I think he's going to have a really good game. The other one I'm going to go with is, one of the running backs. Obviously, things change if Aaron Jones plays. That's the hard part. So we kind of got to be on top of that a little bit. But I actually like Dexter Williams in this matchup over Tyler Ervin because I think Dexter Williams will fall into the end zone once, get a goal line carry. I think he's going to be the guy that's going to get those touches, especially when they're in the lead, which I do believe they will be in. So we can save some money there. So Dexter Williams.
Oh, you want to save some money?
How much is he?
$200.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my.
Yeah, he's still officially on the practice squad.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they'll probably call him up tomorrow night. So, again, this is something we may want to set an alert on our phones.
You need to check that about 15 minutes before kickoff.
Yeah, I do. So, $200.
Yep.
But, I mean, if we do hit on that, I mean, that would be huge. Okay, so this is my pick now?
Yep.
Well, I mean, since
the guys.
Since we're flush with cash.
We can go studs on this.
We have $24,000 left, and Aaron Rodgers is at $11,000. So I'm taking Aaron Rodgers.
I'll take Devontae Adams.
There you go. So that's our lineup. Robert Tanyan, Jermichael Hasty, Brandon Ayuk, Dexter Williams, who we only have $1,000 left. So our swap on this is not going to be great if we have to move him out. So I don't even know who we'd put in.
Well, who's the other option at running back for them?
Tyler Ervin.
Well, how much is he?
A lot more than $1,200. Let's see. Hold on. Maybe not. Hold on. He is also $200.
Okay.
So
we're good either way.
Because
it depends on Aaron Jones, I guess.
Yeah.
I just don't see him playing yet on the short week.
On the short week, I don't see it happening. And if it does, like if we get into a point where they're not there, I'll pick a kicker or something.
I think Aaron Rodgers is more likely to run for a touchdown than any of the running backs they may play.
Yeah. So we can. Tyler Ervin also returns kicks.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why. Maybe I'll swap that out.
Yeah.
Just to.
All right. This is the week. Sure. I feel it.
This is the week that we're gonna have. We're gonna have a $200 running back in no matter what.
Yeah.
Okay.
Aaron Rodgers was excited about Dexter Williams, so I'm just listening to the quarterback. That's all.
Yeah. So, all right. So that's that. That's a thing that happened. We drafted a $200 running back. It happened in the world. So when we come back, as I scroll here for his email, that I've clearly gotten 30 emails since he did that.
You want to talk about our guest for next week, or want to wait till the next segment?
Let's talk about our guest, Steve, that you've set up.
Okay, so we announced it last week and just confirmed it. So next Wednesday on our show, which is November the 11th, the country will still be here in one piece, and so as we said last week, Jarrett Reddick from the band Bowling for Soup, the voice of Chuck E. Cheese, and the singer of the Phineas and Ferb theme song, will be joining us. He's been a fantasy sports player for over 10 years and does very well. He does season long. He does daily fantasy. And daily fantasy lately, he's really been killing it. So we'll get his input. We'll, he's a very funny guy. I'm sure he'll have some funny stories to share with us. And because I know there's been some leagues that he's played in with other rock stars of the day, and so it'll be good.
Yeah, I want to know. Like, he likes to make fun of Fountains of Wayne at their concert because people confuse them a lot. Like, I know he makes fun of them, but he makes jokes about like people get them confused.
Well, the song Stacy's Mom,
yeah,
at some point became attributed to Bowling for Soup because it sounds similar. So he was good friends with Adam Schlesinger, who unfortunately passed away from COVID early on in March. And but yeah, that's kind of been a running joke. They actually recorded a cover of it, and
yeah, they played it when I was him. Yeah, I thought it was pretty funny. Yeah. And then you asked, like, who wants to hear us play Stacy's Mom? And I was like, yeah, that's what I've been waiting for. He's like,
that's not us.
That's not us. All right, so we'll have him next week. So that'll be fun. Armstrong is already getting ready. He's going to wear a Phineas and Ferb T-shirt. He's very fired up. It's a big part of his youth.
I'm going to bring my collector's box set DVD and have him sign it. You know?
Well, he'll be on Skype.
He'll be on Skype. But if he were to mail it to him, he would sign it.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. When we come back, start 'em, sit 'em for this week.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. And this football season, you need to stop by on game day for curbside pickup or stop by their tent next to Sikkim 365 at Brazos Parking for your pregame refreshment. Brotherwell Brewing believes in community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, everyone. This is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like mortgage lending, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Car has the trucks, man. They have the one for you. Crew cab, short or long bed, silver, black or blue. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, he has the truck for you. Carr has the trucks, man. He has the truck you need. If you want the best truck, you want a GMC. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, they truck for you.
Welcome back into the Fantasy Football Show on Sick'em 365 Radio. Brought to you by Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac. And as you've heard me say on the show several times, back in the day when there were Pontiacs, they used to sell those too. Now they probably don't.
Yep.
I'm sure if you went in and really wanted to get a Pontiac and wanted to buy it from them, they would probably make it happen. But
I'm sure they could.
But
there's some auto auctions around where you could get one.
All right, thanks. I'll get you one. But you can buy a much nicer and newer car there than any kind of Pontiac.
Pontiac used to have the Firebird.
Yeah.
And I think I mentioned one time one of my early cars was the Pontiac Phoenix.
Oh, wow.
Yes. It was a maroon and silver two-tone color. Very nice.
Can't believe you drove a maroon car.
Well, that was before I went to Baylor.
Okay. So before
my hatred of A&M hadn't fully instilled itself
hatred
yet.
of A&M. No. All right. Okay. Grayson, did you ever have an embarrassing car?
Ooh, yeah, and it was more so by my own doing, honestly, guys. I was in high school. I drove this silver Mercury Mariner, but I thought I was really cool in it. I didn't quite realize it was a mom car, and I had a big old subwoofer in the back, so I'd be bumping as I was arriving to school. Oh, and yeah, when you're bumping and you're 15 and then you got a mom car, it's not the best look.
You're knocking the ladies off left and right.
You know it.
My older sister had it was when I was much younger. One of her first cars was a canary yellow GMC Gremlin. You remember the Gremlin?
Yeah, I remember the Gremlin. Yeah. That's like the worst name for a car ever.
Yep.
Yeah.
The only cool thing about it, I remember, was that the seat belts on the metal part had an actual little gremlin on there. He had his hands on his hips looking like a bad dude.
That's a horrible thing to name a car. It just is. All right. And that's neither here nor there. I just wondered. Sometimes it's nice for people to get to know us.
Yes.
Armstrong, you ever had an embarrassing car? Are you still in your first car right now?
I'm currently on my second. My first was a 2002 Toyota Camry.
Okay.
And that got totaled. It was parked. It was not my own doing.
Yeah.
And now I have a 93 Chevy.
Somebody just ran into it?
Somebody just ran it. One of my younger brother's friends was riding by the house, and he was showing off his brand new car. So he rolled down the window and yelled to my brother and just swerved and smashed my car.
Geez.
Oh.
So that was bad.
Oh,
and
my
now
gosh.
I have a 93 Chevy Suburban. So I mean, I don't know.
That's a classic, though.
I love my current car. The old one is kind of embarrassing, but
Yeah, he's driving a classic.
93 Suburban.
That's a classic,
Man.
Steve.
But I've never paid more than $1,500 for a car. And that's how I like it.
Yeah, no, that's very intelligent of you.
Yes.
At this stage in your life, if it gets you from A to B, that's all you need.
Exactly.
That's the kind of car you want. When you go to buy one, you say, "I want an A to B."
Yes.
And then what's that? Whatever is going to get me from A to B for the least amount of money and not kill me. That's what you want. Would you start? This is from our my friend Stacy.
All right.
Would you start anyone on either the Dolphins or Dallas offense right now?
Well, we talked about the Cowboys earlier. Honestly, man, the only one I would, if you need a tight end to replace Kittle and Schultz is out there, that might be the only one I would go for.
I would start Mike Gesicki, wouldn't you?
Oh, for the Dolphins?
Yeah.
Yeah. But, Gesicki's, if you have him on your roster, definitely playing. They have a situation this week because Gaskin is hurt. Mm-hmm. So Jordan Howard, I believe, was actually inactive last week for no reason, just because they didn't plan on using him.
Yeah.
So my guess would be Matt Breida is going to get that shot to be the person they thought he was going to be when they brought him in.
Yeah.
But it's going to take a while.
They actually did trade for a running back as well. The Dolphins did.
They did. Was
DeAndre Washington.
Yeah. Tua didn't throw for over 100 yards last week.
No.
I think he'll do a little bit better this week.
They didn't need him to because they had a special teams touchdown, a fumble, return.
So maybe if you have Devontae Parker, you're probably playing him. But that's how I would go on that.
All right, Marvin Jones Jr. We're starting in a flex spot with Galladay out. Grayson, you like this one, don't you?
Yeah, I would start him this week. And I wouldn't feel confident with him being your wide receiver 1 or wide receiver 2. But as a wide receiver 3 or a flex, I think he's a great option. I mean, they're going to have to throw the football. My only concern, I will say, and I just kind of saw this, I kind of glanced at my phone during the break. I didn't realize Matthew Stafford is actually on the COVID-19 list now.
Yep.
So that makes things a little murkier, and that means David Blau is probably going to be the quarterback this week. So it makes it a little questionable, but I still think they're going to have to throw the football.
Yeah. Or it could be Chase Daniel, but probably David Blau, right? Now, Stafford does have a chance to play if he has 5 days in a row of tests, so of negative tests. So he went on yesterday or Monday, so it's Tuesday, Wednesday. So I would assume that he's maybe already had 2 because he's a high-risk contact tracing. So he's probably we would already know if he tested negative because he has to have 5 in a row. So he's had 2 days of negative tests. So at least for now, it's looking good for
and
Stafford.
It kind of seems like COVID may be rearing its head for this week. Last week was totally clean, no test. They said today the 49ers had to shut down there.
Yeah, Kendrick Bourne, he's not playing tomorrow night. He's in the COVID list.
So there's an outside shot that game tomorrow night may not happen, or they at least push it back to Sunday. I don't know how they make that up to the NFL Network or CBS
to Fox,
who airs the Thursday night game. But for season long, you need to pay attention to that to see how it's going to affect your roster.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, and finally, do you think any New England wide receiver Jacoby Myers is worth stashing on the bench?
No.
I mean, because he's
only in a 14-team league.
Okay.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, where there's nobody on waivers at all, and you got some deep benches, but I wouldn't. Yeah, no.
All right,
and Harry will be back this week, I think.
Yeah.
All right, guys, start him, sit him. Grayson, we'll start with you.
Okay, at the quarterback position, I'm calling my shot a little bit this week. I think Tom Brady has the upside to be the number 1 quarterback this week. I do believe he's a surefire top 10 guy, possibly top 5 guy, but I think he's got the chance to be number 1 against New Orleans. I just have a feeling that game might be a little more high scoring than maybe people think. So really like Tom Brady at quarterback. Really do not like guys like Teddy Bridgewater this week. I'm not a huge fan of him. Do not start Tua. You need to see it first. I already said I like Drew Locke. So those are a few of the names that to look at the quarterback position. At running back, I mentioned Justin Jackson. I think he could have some success against Las Vegas. I'm so excited about that matchup. David Montgomery against Tennessee is another one that I really like, and kind of a sneaky, I guess, kind of later round play that I mentioned, Dexter Williams. If Aaron Jones doesn't play, I think Dexter Williams gets some carries this week. Now, I could be totally wrong and throwing people off, but I think he could get the job done, get enough carries to have an impact. Also, sneaky play, I really like Damian Harris this week for the Patriots. They take on the Jets. Everyone's having fun against the Jets, and Harris is coming off a 100-yard performance. So I really like him. Guys I don't like, I would not start J.K. Dobbins or Gus Edwards this week. The Colts, I watch them a lot, and their defense is very, very good, particularly against the run. They can be beaten through the air, but not a huge fan against, opposing running backs against them. Also not a huge fan of Matt Breida this week. I know they play the Cardinals, but I don't really trust him right now. I think that Jordan Howard's going to get some carries. I think they brought in DeAndre Washington for a reason. So stay away from that for this week. At wide receiver, some of the guys that I really like, I like Brandon Ayuk. I've mentioned him. I like him against Green Bay. I like Hollywood Brown against the Colts. He's been a little disappointing, but I think he gets things back on track against the Colts. I think they're going to have to throw the football. That's an area that the Colts have struggled with, running that zone defense. I think Justin Jefferson for the Vikings also gets back on track this week. And also I mentioned Marvin Jones, particularly if Matthew Stafford is actually going to play this week. So I would play him. Some guys I don't like, Devontae Parker, I'd stay away from him. I just don't feel comfortable playing him. And then a guy who I'm really sad to say this about, but I think we're at the point where, if you don't have to play Amari Cooper, I wouldn't. I just think you have to see it first. I know Pittsburgh can be beaten through the air. That's only if the quarterback has time to get a pass off, and I just don't know if that's going to happen this week. So I would stay away from him until he's able to prove it with a different quarterback other than, Dak and Andy Dalton. At tight end, love TJ Hawkinson. Just wanted to throw that out there. I think that he's going to be a guy who's a rock solid play, even if Matthew Stafford isn't there as a safety blanket.
All right, Steve, who you got?
We already talked about the Steelers. Now, you may have multiple Steelers on your roster. I wouldn't play more than one because, if the game script doesn't go the way you want it to, then they're not throwing it in the second half, then you don't want to be locked into that. But if you got Juju, if you got Deontay, if you got Claypool, put him in there. Roethlisberger probably isn't your main quarterback. He was drafted later in most drafts, so you probably have somebody like Wilson or Murray. But, again, like we've been saying,
and look, if you're catching a bye and you've got Roethlisberger this week, you probably rolled you won the lottery there.
Yeah. I like Justin Herbert against the Raiders. I know they've been losing. They're 2-5. The Raiders' defense has not been great. They're playing at home, so I like Herbert, and I like Keenan Allen, and I like Mike Williams in that game. I think the Chargers will actually win that game. I'm going to disagree a little bit with Grayson. I do like Dobbins for the Ravens this week, so we'll see who's right on that one. I know the Colts' defense has been incredible, but like I said earlier, I think Dobbins is becoming the back that they wanted him to be when they drafted him. Ingram is still hurt. And I don't think they want Jackson running as much. So I do like Dobbins. Cardinals, now that's a Sunday night game. Dolphins at Cardinals, which should be interesting. But I would play all your Cardinals that you have. On the flip side, Dolphins could be playing catch up for that game, but I would not play Tua. If you're desperate for a running back, I think Breida might help you more on the receiving end than the running end. So if you're in a PPR league, then Breida might be the way to go. Some tight ends. I like Ebron with Pittsburgh. We've talked about that a little bit. I like Hunter Henry in that game. And then defenses. You want to play the Pittsburgh Steelers defense, obviously. They're going to get sacks. They're probably going to get turnovers. And then I also like the Buccaneers defense against the Saints. New Orleans won that game the first time they played. That was week 1 of the season. The Buccaneers were still trying to figure out who they were. In my opinion, I think they're probably the second best team in the NFC. I still think Seattle is probably the best team in the NFC. So, like Grayson said, I think Brady's going to have a...
Seattle's defense is about to get better, too.
Yeah, with Dunlap.
Yeah.
Yep. But I think the Buccaneers are going to go off in that game, and so I like their defense as well. Drew Brees, we've talked about a little bit in different episodes. Brees isn't what we thought he's always been, so I think they're going to struggle. Now, if Michael Thomas plays, again, that's another one that's up in the air. I do think he plays this week. With the game being, a night game, I think they've been waiting for this game to bring him back.
Emmanuel Sanders, by the way, is off the COVID list, so so that should help the Saints' offense a little bit.
Yeah. So those are my picks.
Yeah, after the week Emmanuel Sanders broke out, he got COVID. So.
Yeah.
It's just been.
Guys, I have some breaking news that directly impacts our lineup for this week.
Okay.
The 49ers officially placed Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, and Trent Williams on the reserve COVID-19 list.
Oh, man.
Okay.
And they are out for the game against Green Bay.
Okay. So
I don't think they're going to play that game tomorrow night. I bet it gets pushed back.
Well, Schefter said they're on track to play, even with this, which is pretty crazy.
Okay, so now we have $9,600, and that was your pick, Grayson. So...
I guess, see, the problem is the guys that I'd want to play, we don't even know if they're going to play. So you got Aaron Jones, who might be out. Jordan Reed, who's still on IR, who I would love to play because there's not even a living body out there playing wide receiver for the 49ers right now.
Yeah.
What are we at, Paul? I mean, Jordan Reed's still IR.
Yeah, Jordan Reed's still IR. All right, so here are our best options. I'm
looking up the 49ers depth chart.
Like Ross Dwelly, is he on there?
Dwelly, Mason Crosby at $4,000, Robbie Gould, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Jay Sternberger.
You know what? Let's put Nick Mullins in there. Let's give the poor guy a shot. He's gonna have to throw it a ton. Maybe he'll get some fluky touchdowns.
So you said Trent Taylor is on COVID?
No, they're offensive lineman Trent Williams.
Okay, so according to this website, Trent Taylor would be their top receiver for tomorrow night.
He's $400.
Trent Taylor.
Why can I not find Mullins? I guess I'll just have to look for his name. There he is.
So I kind of like the Dwelly pick at tight end.
All right. So
somebody tomorrow night in the world of daily fantasy is going to win a lot of money on a really, really odd roster.
Well, it might be us.
Yeah.
Because we have now we have Robert Tonyan, Devontae Adams, Aaron Rodgers, Nick Mullins, JaMychal Hasty, and Dexter Williams.
Your only other option for that, if you're looking to play in that contest, is to pick all Packers except for one. You just have to have one person from the other team. So you could go all Packers and one 49er for tomorrow night. So
yeah, we have two 49ers.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'll text you, Paul. I'll keep track and I'll text in the group text because I mean, if Aaron Jones is playing, I think we might want to make that shift and then just.
I think we
Jordan Reed also.
Yeah, I think we can make that happen. All right, that's going to do it for us. Special thanks to Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac. Thanks to Brotherwell Brewing. And guess what, guys? Look, America's here. We're here today. Everything's fine. Everything's going to be fine. It's all going to be fine. I quote John Mulaney from Saturday Night Live this week. There was an elderly man contest, and nothing's going to change. I mean,
we're still boarding up the windows after the show, right?
Everything's fine. Go out, enjoy your fellow Americans. Let's bring it back together. Fantasy football is a uniter. It's not a divider.
Especially when you win, like me.
Exactly. You know what? I'm divided now.
Me too.
That's going to do it for us. Special thanks to Armstrong Sims as well. This is the Fantasy Football Show on Sikkim 365 Radio.